Okay, that's recording. Hi, would you tell me your name?
My name is Beth Fuchs.
And what do you do here at CHTM?
I'm the database administrator, and I'm also the manager for the day-to-day operations of the clean room.
The clean room requires a lot of different chemicals and gases to keep it running.
It does, and as a result, I am also the chemical safety officer for the department. We have well over 1,000 different chemicals that are allowed in the building, and more are being brought in by our users every day.
I had to take your safety program here, and it was pretty entailed. It took me like 4 days to go through it.
It is, what we found is that most of our people coming in had their chemistry courses several years earlier, so they really didn't remember their chemistry courses. And working in the clean room, there's a lot of chemistry involved, so we wanted to give them a basic refresher on chemistry safety.
Mm-hmm. Some of the chemicals may not appear to be hazardous when in fact they are. One thing I noticed is that you were pretty extensive in understanding the labeling done by certain agencies.
That's quite true, because there are many chemicals that look just like water, but they can be deadly if you get even a few drops on them, on yourself.
Yeah. So other than the safety program here, you do data management?
I do data management. We get several different contracts and grants from the government, and quite often they'll ask for information about how many hours people are using our labs, what type of people are using our labs, and part of my job is to get that information and provide it to the government agencies that request it.
Mm. Are there any security issues? I notice that you have to have a badge to get through the doors.
Because of all the chemicals and the delicate equipment that we work with, we do have badges that are set up to allow people into the labs. If you don't need access to a lab, you're not granted access. That allows people who aren't trained and don't know how to operate equipment, they cannot get access to that equipment.
I see. How long has CHTM been here?
In this particular facility, we have been here a little over 18 years.
Mm.
CHTM has been in existence since 1983.
That's a long time.
It is.
Do you know how many patents CHTM has put out in that amount of time?
I don't know, but it has been a number. And as a whole, for CHTM, we have put out more patents than any other research center in the university.
Well, that's pretty amazing.
It is.
So, have you seen any changes in the amount of time? How long have you worked here?
I have been here for almost 18 years.
That's quite a while.
So I'm one of the long timers.
Yeah. Have you seen any changes in the way science is done or the way research has done?
I've noticed that more and more of the students coming in are expecting the science to be provided to them without having to go off and research it. They want everything to be handed to them rather than going off and figuring it out on their own.
Mm-hmm. So even though they're taking graduate level courses, it's still not enough preparation to do the kind of research that they're involved with. They have to read papers and
quite
journals.
often.
Mm-hmm.
I know when I took some of my graduate courses, I literally was spending twice as much time reading papers and learning about the research that I spent doing my coursework.
What do you think about computers in the past 18 years? Have they become more important in doing research in the lab?
They have become more important because it's much easier to keep track of your data. It's much easier to put down your data in a computer than it is to write it down on a notebook and, oh my goodness, I just spilled something on my notebook. I have to take my data again.
Mm-hmm. If you're going to make recommendations for students that would be interested in doing research and being maybe a scientist or an engineer, what would you recommend?
I would recommend that they start out with a well-rounded education. Don't discount taking arts and humanities. You learn a lot from all those other classes, but you do need a solid background in math and science.
Mm-hmm. So, you think even the arts are important?
Oh, of course.
So, like music or
Music,
drawing?
photography,
Mm-hmm.
any sort of art class.
Mm-hmm.
You can gain inspiration from any part of understanding and knowledge.
What do you think the difference is between science and engineering?
Science, you are learning for the sake of learning and pursuing the knowledge. Engineering, you're more learning about how things work and how to apply the knowledge that has already been discovered.
Mm-hmm. So does that mean like you might be taking knowledge from a bunch of different areas and maybe putting it together?
Absolutely.
I see. Is there anything else you'd like to give as a recommendation to students that maybe someday will be working here?
Never stop learning. Every day that you can learn something is a gift. And anything you learn, nobody can take that away from you.
Thank you, Beth.
You're welcome.